Welcome to this model. In this model, let us have an insight of launching procedures. Satellites may be directly injected into low altitude orbits up to about 200 km altitude from a launch vehicle. Launch vehicles may be classified as expendable and reusable. Typical of the expendable launches are US Atlas and Delta rockets and European Space Agency rocket. Japan, China, and Russia all have their own expendable launch vehicles, and one may expect to see competition for commercial launches among the countries which have these facilities. Until the tragic mishap with the space shuttle in 1986, this was to be the primary transportation systems for the United States. As a reusable launch vehicle, the shuttle, also referred to as which is called as space transportation system, was planned to eventually replace the expendable launch vehicles for the United States. And where an orbital altitude greater than about 200 kilometers is required, it is not economical to in terms of the launch vehicle part to perform the direct injection, and the satellite must be placed into the transfer orbit between the initial LEO and the final high altitude orbit. In most cases, the transfer orbit is selected to minimize the energy required for transfer, and such an orbit is known as Hoffman transfer orbit. The time required for transfer is longer for this orbit than all other possible transfer orbits. Assume for the moment that all orbits are in the same plane and that the transfer is required between the two circular orbits. Then the Hoffman elliptical orbit is seen to be tangent to the low altitude orbit at perigee and to the high altitude orbit at apogee. So at the perigee, in case of rocket launch, the rocket injects the satellite with the required thrust into the transfer orbit. So with the STS, the satellite must carry a perigee kick motor which imparts the required thrust at perigee. And the process of placing a satellite in a proper orbit is known as the launching procedure or launching process. And during this process, from Earth station, we can control the operations of the satellite. Mainly, there are 4 stages in launching a satellite. The first stage of launch vehicle contains rockets and fuels for lifting the satellite along with the launch vehicles from ground. Second stage of launch vehicle contains small rockets. These are ignited after completion of the first stage. They have their own fuel tanks in order to send the satellite into space. And the third stage of the launch vehicle is connected to the satellite fairing. This fairing is a metal shield which contains the satellite and it protects the satellite. And fourth stage, satellites get separated from the upper stage of the launch vehicle when it has been reached out of the Earth's atmosphere. Then the satellite will go into the transfer orbit, which we call it as Hoffman transfer orbit, and this orbit sends the satellite in higher into space. And now let us see the types of launch vehicles and propulsion. Satellite launch vehicles launch the satellites into particular orbit based on the requirement. Satellite launch vehicles are nothing but multi-stage rockets, and they are classified as I said earlier, expendable launch vehicles and reusable launch vehicles. These expendable launch vehicles get destroyed after leaving the satellite in space. You can see an image of an expendable launch vehicle here in this picture. The ELV contains 3 stages, and the first and second stages of ELV raise the satellite to about 50 miles to 100 miles. And the third stage of ELV places the satellite in transfer orbit. The task of ELV will be completed and its spare parts will be fallen to Earth when the satellite reaches to transfer orbit. And reusable launch vehicles can be used multiple times for launching vehicles or satellites. Generally, this type of launch vehicle will return back to Earth after leaving the satellite into space. And as I said earlier, this is also known as space shuttle or space transportation system. You can see an image of reusable launch vehicle here. So after leaving the satellite in its position, these rockets will return back to Earth, which can be used again. The function of the space satellite are similar to the function of the first and second stages of ELV. And satellites, along with the third stage of space shuttles, are mounted in the cargo bay. It is ejected from the cargo bay when the space shuttle reaches to an elevation of 150 to 200 miles. Then the third stage of space shuttle gets fired and places the satellite into transfer orbit. After this, the space shuttle will return back to Earth for radios. Satellites may be directly injected into low orbits up to about 200 km, above which we require the injecting missions or rockets which will be used to inject our satellite into the orbit. Assume for the moment that all orbits in the same plane and that the transfer is required between two circular orbits. The Hoffman elliptical orbit is seen to be tangent to the low altitude orbit at Perigee and to the high altitude orbit at Apogee. At the Perigee, in the case of rocket launch, the rocket injects the satellite with the required thrust and into the transfer orbit. With the STS, the satellite must carry a Perigee kick motor which imparts the required thrust at Perigee. And at Apogee, the Apogee kick motor, that is AKM, changes the velocity of the satellite to place it in a circular orbit in the same plane. And that it can see in this figure. And approximately it takes 1 to 2 months for the satellite to be fully operational. And throughout the launch and acquisition phases, a network of ground stations spread across the Earth is required to perform tracking, telemetry, and command functions, that is TT and C function. Velocity changes in the same plane changes the geometry of the orbit but not its inclination. In order to change the inclination, a velocity change is required normal to the orbital plane. Changes in the inclination can be made at either one of the nodes without affecting the other orbital parameters. Since energy must be expended to make any orbital changes, a geostationary satellite should be launched initially with a low on orbital inclination as possible. So it will be shown shortly that the smallest inclination obtainable at initial launch is equal to the latitude of the launch site. Thus, for the farther away from the equator, launch site is less useful it is. Since the satellite has to carry extra fuel to affect the change in inclination, and Russia doesn't have any launch site south of 45 degree N, which makes the launching of geostationary satellites a much more expensive operation for Russia than for other countries which have launch sites closer to the equator. Prograde orbits have an easterly component of velocity, so prograde launches gain from Earth's rotational velocity. For a given launcher size, the significantly larger payload can be launched in easterly directions than is possible with retrograde. In particular, easterly launches are used for the initial launch into the geostationary orbit. And the relationship between the inclination, latitude and azimuth may be derived by this diagram, and this shows the geometry of the launch site at A at latitude lambda. Okay. And this slight difference between the geodetic and geocentric latitudes can be ignored here, which is shown in this one second. This is shown in this figure. So the dotted line shows the satellite track, the satellite having been launched at some azimuth angle AZ. Angle I is the resulting inclination. The spherical triangle of interest is separated in this bigger figure B. This is the right spherical triangle, and Napier rules for this gives us cos I is equal to cos lambda into sin AZ. For prograde orbit, which is where the inclination lies between 0 and 90 degree, and hence cos I will be positive. Also for lambda, which is in between the minus 90 to plus 90 degree, and hence cos lambda is also positive. It follows that for AZ, which is in between 0 and 180 degree, or the launch azimuth must be easterly in order to obtain a prograde orbit, confirming what was already known. So for fx at lambda, this equation, that is cos I is equal to cos lambda into sin Z, shows that to minimize the inclination, cos I should be minimum, which requires the sin AZ to be maximum, or AZ is equal to 90. So therefore under these conditions we can write cos I minimum is equal to cos lambda, therefore I minimum is equal to lambda. Thus, the lowest inclination possible on initial launch is equal to the latitude of the launch site. This result confirms the converse statement that is when under inclination that the greatest latitude north or south is equal to the inclination. The smallest initial inclination which can be achieved for easterly launches is approximately 28 degrees. So under inclination that the greatest latitude of north or south is equal to the inclination. Thank you.